Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, and welcome to YACC, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game I played for a week and then I talk about it. This week's game is Cat Quest. It was made by the Gentle Bros in 2017, and also there will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know. But first a little backstory. My friend Richard recommended this game to me. We have some in common. We like Final Fantasy games and we like Diablo 2, and he said if you like Diablo 2, you'll love this game. It's grind based basically. So the game starts with a cutscene of you and your sister in a boat on a stormy sea, and you get attacked by this generic mage kind of guy, and he kidnaps your sister and leaves you for dead. He destroys you both, and you're washed up on the shore, and you've been saved by this cat spirit called Spirit, which is a pun on the Siri AI, like the Navi from the Legend of Zelda series, this annoying kind of spirit that always tells you what to do. So there's one thing I need to get out of the way before I start. This game is grind heavy, and it's a dungeon crawler, and all the characters are cats or various forms of animals. So you play as a cat, you're the main guy. And you're washed up ashore, as I said, and you go through the basics. You get attacked by enemies, and there's this mechanic, like you see where the attacks are supposed to land, because right before the attack you get like an arrow or a circle of effect where the attack will happen. So you dodge by pressing X and you attack by pressing square. And I'm playing this on the PS4, by the way. So you defeat the enemies and you go talk to this mage, and you get your first spell, which is Flare Purr, and all the cat puns, as I said. And he tells you like you are the chosen one, you are the dragon blood, and I think it's the pun on the Elder Scrolls, like the Dragonborn. And anyway, you also learn like your attack. If you attack enemies, you regenerate your mana, your magic points. So you need to do that to balance out like swordplay and magic, and all the spells you get are kind of like areas of effect, and you will see later on as you play it, you will understand how everything works. And then you're supposed to fight the bad guy, this white cat called Dracoth, when he has your sister, and he says like, if you defeat me, you can have your sister back. So you start your grind and you kill your first dragon, which is a really easy fight. But then you go into like Seaside Cave, it's a level 2 cave. And then you go to Catnip Cave, it's a level 3 cave, and then you go to the Cave Grotto, and there's all kinds of stupid names of caves, but so all caves and grottos have levels on, and that's the recommended level that you have. So you gain levels and experience by defeating enemies, basically. So you go into all these caves and you do that. And then you kind of fight the main bad guy again, and you gear up to save your sister, basically. I went into a Loot Cave, which is a level 5, and then the Bad Cave, which is obviously a pun on the whole Batman kind of thing. And this is what this game is about. It's about grinding, basically. You go into caves and you go to bounty boards and you get quests and you help people, but generally you just skip all the texts and you just defeat enemies and do different, quest-related stuff. Get this, get this, get that, kill these monsters in this cave, return with the treasure, and all that. So at this point I just started to grind, because I know this game pretty much by heart. I've 100%ed it, and I've taken the platinum trophy before. And so I ran into one of those funny items that I forgot about. In like quests, like basically like crawlers, you have like all these stats. You have like defense, you have health, you have attack and magic and whatnot. And I found this item called the Crappy Hat, and it's -7 defense, -13 to health, -7 to attack, and -7 to magic. Why would you put on a crappy hat? I think it's just a pun on the whole kind of finding a crappy item. Maybe it's like cursed or something. And then I find a white mage robe, which is a Final Fantasy. It looks exactly like that healing robe that the white magicians have, like the And what I did then is I found this magic called Cat Trap, and it's basically you lay down a trap, and when monsters or mobs steps into it, they lose a little health. So I grinded that up to level 10. Basically what you don't grind it, you actually buy levels for gold coins, which you earn by defeating enemies and doing quests. And then what I did was I went down to Founders Island, and it's this, at the bottom of the map, of the world map, there is like this place where the founders like the Gentle Bros, they made an in-pun joke. There's this level 0 cave which you go into. You take a quest and you get the golden key. In all the levels, or all the grottos, most of them, there is a golden chest with an item in it. So you want these, but you can't open them without the golden key. So you make the quest, you defeat these kind of chest monsters, which are really hard, and you get the golden key. So now you just open up all the chests in the caverns in caves that you've been in before, and basically get better and better loot. So how the looting in items works is that if you have for a generic example, you have like a silver sword. If you get another silver sword, you get level 2, and you get more damage and more attack. Or if you have a magic staff, like a brown magic staff, you get 3 levels on that item. So you want to pick up as much stuff as you can, and there's no overcumberment to how much stuff you can pick up. You can't sell items either, you can just get more. And there's like, after a certain point, you kind of like, you don't need much of the items, but it's generic, you just pick up all the things, but you don't really need them. So at the end of the game, you have like, all these helmets and magical robes, and because you play a game a certain way, then why would I pick up like magical robes? I'm a fighter, I specialize in weapons basically, and there's like, and I have the traps, like the cat trap spell. Why would I pick up these things? But I'm not going to use them. But you can't sell them either, so they're in the way when you try to find the right item. You scroll through the inventory, it's just bothersome. So anyway, you go to the main last guy, and you kind of find out, then this is like a spoiler, that your sister wasn't real to begin with. It was just like this implanted kind of story element. So the main bad guy wants to bring back his master. That's what this is all about. And he wants to bring back his human friend because they got separated somehow, and that led to the Dragon Wars and whatnot. And there's like a story, but it's not really hinted at much. You find these like obelisks or totems that explains the story, and if you get all the story elements, you kind of understand the story of what's basically been happening. And yeah, so I mean, I just grinded out, like there's like this, I think it's the end of the road, the cavern is called, and it's like you level up your cat trap to level 10, and you just spam that spell and you defeat that kind of, I think it's a ghost enemy, and they take extra damage from the cat trap because they have a weakness to it. There's like an element to it. And I just grinded out to level 80. I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna do like a level 100, but about like 2/3 of the way I was like, screw this, I'm just gonna beat the game. And I did that. And once you beat in this game, you get Mew Game Plus. Not New Game Plus, but Mew Game Plus. All these cat puns, I guess. And there's this one place which I really hate. It's called the Lonely Island, and it's a level 0 cave. And it has one of the basic mobs in it. And it has all the spells, and it does a lot of damage, and it takes a lot of hits. So I didn't go through with that quest, and I've beaten it before. I don't need to, because I think it's one of the trophies on the PSN. It's like, if you, on the PlayStation I mean, it's like you have to beat all the enemies, defeat all the enemies, get all the treasures, and clear like all the levels, the caves, whatnot. But I didn't do it. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I really put like 8 to 10 hours into this game, just grinding and whatnot. So gameplay, well, you're supposed to beat the main bad guy, and you're supposed to save your sister, but it turns out in the end that was not the case. It was something totally different. Control, the left stick moves the character, the triangle interacts with signs and bounty boards and other characters as well. Circle is for inventory. You can go into that inventory system and look for items that you have. R3 zooms out the whole map, and later L3 makes you fly, and you get this potion that you can walk on water, because there's certain places you need to go basically to finish the game. But once you get that flying power, power up, it's kind of silly. The cat kind of flaps his arms and he kind of glides through the air like a bird. It's really silly, but yeah, that mode of transportation is great, and mobs can't hit you while you're in the air, so it's a time saver basically. And then square attacks and circles, roll and dodge. And the graphics, they're very polished, like one of those old Flash games. Really, really nice kind of vector graphic, kind of nice curves to everything. And sound and music. -1 was the guy who made the soundtrack, and it's really upbeat and happy. It's one of those kind of going into adventure kind of positive vibes, and it has this kind of creepy tone, and when something is mysterious, it gets mysterious, and I think he nailed the soundtrack basically, really nice. And in conclusion, it's a cheap game, pick it up, play it. It's at least, it's a little bit grindy, but it's fun for what it is. It's stupid and all the cat puns, and just play it for a few hours, that will be fine. You don't have to like 100% it or anything. And if you want to 100% it, there's like extra modes like Mew Game Plus, where you can actually keep all your items from a previous playthrough, or you can change like the mobs like attacks and how much damage they do. You can do like a naked run, which basically you can't equip any items. You have to beat the game with just your paws. So I can recommend this absolutely. Just play it as casual as I do. So anyway, thanks for listening and watching, and take care.